Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Hope you're having a good day. Gold's up, silver's up. Silver's 31.52, gold's 26.45. Gold, we're not getting that 10 o'clock drop. We did get a 2 o'clock drop. Well, 1:30, 2 o'clock drop from Asia or from Europe. A little bit more at 8 o'clock. And then a drop. Well, no, at what's this? Like 4 o'clock, and then a drop at it's like 6:30. Hey, Pat. So about 6:37, we had our drop, but it wasn't going below 26.24. Now the surprising thing, the 10 o'clock USA drop is not going down; it's going up. So I think the USA is actually really desperate. And now they're realizing we should not short it, but we should buy it because instead of doing the put, they're doing the call. Because they realize they need gold and everybody's buying it, they should do it. Silver 31.55. We want silver to get past 32.50 or so. See, right now what's happening is we have, well, we're about to get here. People need money. The countries are all going broke now. This is near the end of the Keynesian test of, oh, geez, we're bad. We have no money. And they're all starting to realize it. And just a second, let me. And so they realized, well, what do we do, right? If you need money, what do? You sell your stocks. You sell your assets. You sell your gold, your silver. I mean, people, that's why there's gold available at the gold store. People are selling their gold. People need gold. They need money for food because this still, even though it has no value, you can still buy food, pay your bills with this. I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but that's where we're at. And so therefore, I need to get this, so I need to sell this to get this, right? That's what's happening. But what's about to happen is finally the gold and silver, as people realize it, they realize there's only one place to go. That's gold. So gold's really a monopoly. And that's what normally the government likes monopolies, except in this instance. Gold is a monopoly because there's nothing that can compete with it. So, on the other hand, the government tries to make this the monopoly, but this can't compete with gold. But gold's nothing, and gold's terrible, and it's not an investment, all the bullshit. Makes me sick. But if you understand it, there's nothing that can compete with gold. And once you clear out all the government bullshit of telling you and your financial advisors, buy stock, buy Amazon, that's what you want, not gold. The way this is going, it's 26.45. We'll be at 2,700 by Thursday. So real good news there. We'll look at football in a minute. So really exciting for us. All those with gold and silver who are smart enough to buy it and realize what it is. It's amazing that people like Luke's friend, I got $4 million in my 401k, but they don't realize this is not worth anything. I'm watching Leave It to Beaver, right? This way, there's just not a lot of commercials in it, right? And you see the prices in the early 60s, and it's $1. You know, they're going to the movies with $1, and Ward wants change back. That one's on again. Ward wants his change back. Wait a minute, give me change for my dollar, because the quarters and the dimes are worth something. They want change back for it. And this is the point. Now the dollar's not worth anything. So there's no, I could give the girls $10 and I wouldn't care about the change. Yeah, here's $20, go eat and keep the change. But it's really shows you what they don't show you is the value of the dollar is worthless, right? Oh, it's not the dollar going down, its prices going up. I was saving this for economics, but I'm going to touch on it now. When I Googled what is inflation, everybody's talking about prices. And I says, why do they use prices? I know why, but I wanted to see their answer. And it's, well, we can see the purchasing power of the dollar. What does prices have to do with purchasing power of the dollar? The dollar loses its value. The prices don't necessarily indicate the real value of the dollar, only if you can raise prices. As I use the barbecue example all the time, the guy might need to charge $40 for his ribs, but he can't because he won't have any customers. So you got to keep it at market. So if the dollar loses value and it takes more dollars to buy it, but if nobody will buy it, so it takes more to buy the ribs and make the ribs and pay bills. But if nobody will buy it, if the market's down here, you can't sell it. So you can't raise your price. And that's my thing about prices. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Anyway. I just had a block phone call, I guess, or a phone call from somebody at 11 o'clock. But I don't know who. So when you block a number because it's a bullshit or a scammer, when they call, it doesn't go through because it's blocked. All right. So gold's gone through the roof, and we all know why. If anybody tells you it's not an investment, I'd just laugh at them and go, but then you don't know what an investment is. An investment's something that you make money on. You invest in something because you think you'll make money. And a lot of stocks, which are all manipulated, you don't make money in. And you can see the manipulation now with Amazon and Google and these. They're not worth what they're selling for. Then we see the fake stock market now at 41,000. First of all, it's inflated dollars. Second, it's all printed money that's going into it. So the dollars are worth even less. And it's all bullshit. If it's worth so much, then how come the dollar is not worth anything? Oh, we cut inflation because a few prices didn't go up. Yeah, Coke didn't go up. It's still $2.95. So inflation's done. It's not a good measure, but nobody's really talking about that. It's not a good measure. All right. So we're smart. Silver hopefully starts taking off. Pat, I did read. I didn't see anything that said Israel is stopping. I specifically searched Google and I said, "Is Israel making gold illegal?" And I saw nothing to that point. I don't know where you got that from. I don't know. They're at war. Is Israel compensating the gold? I didn't see anything in there that said they were doing it. Wars are very expensive. That's why the whole world's about to be bankrupt, because you have wars there and wars there. And George Soros is in the middle laughing his head off because he's getting revenge for the Nazis. I mean, it's just these people are incredibly stupid running it, or they're all his guys, and that's what the plan is. Okay. George Soros and that other idiot, Charles Schwab. All right. So football yesterday, I hit Buffalo 54-10, and I lose Washington, Cincinnati, our free pick 38-33. You have to be kidding me. They didn't blitz Daniels at all. They didn't. There was no blitzing. I mean, Burrow looked fine. They got 33 points. That was it. Joe Burrow crushed you. Joe Burrow didn't crush you. The Cincinnati coach crushed you, and their defense maybe will show up tonight. It wasn't Joe Burrow. He did fine. He put up 33, Chase, couple touchdowns. That wasn't the problem. If I knew Cincinnati's defense played a lot better against Mahomes. They sacked Mahomes. Where was anything yesterday? Cincinnati did not look like a team that was down. That was 0-2. I had just lost to Kansas City and needed the win. That was the premise of the bet. They had to win. They're down 0-2, and they're playing a weak team. And they did light them up. If I knew Cincinnati's defense is this bad, and all of a sudden Jaden Daniels thinks he's back at LSU playing Ole Miss, I would have played the game over. It was only 46. I could have went over 40. But I thought that Cincinnati had to win the game. Being down 0-2, I see Baltimore had to win the game, barely won. Jacksonville had to win the game, got beat by 50. I love that. I hate Jacksonville. And Buffalo's a really good home team. But, when you place your bet, it's just like stock or like gold or silver. Silver is very undervalued, but it's not going up yet. It's about to go up. The point is, why did you make the investment? Why did you place the bet? Because Higgins played, Chase looked good, Burrow looked fine. The defense, where were they? A lot of weird call. They should have really lit up Washington for 50 points. I just saw the highlights. I didn't watch the game. I just watched them now, the highlights, and it was like 3rd and 10, and kicking field goals. And what are you kicking field goals? Joe Burrow and Chase against Washington. I think they need a new coach. I think this coach is in way over his head. I don't think you'd let these guys throw. I saw 2 4th downs. One went for like a touchdown, went to the 1-yard line on 4th and 2. I question this Cincinnati coach as far as where's his defense. Right, he had a bad play against KC where the guy did the interference on 4th and 16. That's a coaching problem, not teaching the kid how to play and having the kid in the game, and Mahomes smart enough to go after him. Like Kyler Murray was going after the Lions number 0, who gets called for pass interference every play. So, no, we lost because of the coach, and the defense did they blitz once? I mean, you're letting Jalen Daniels sit there with 10 minutes. Now he looked good. I mean, he's looked fine. Now I can bet. They only scored 21 on the fucking Giants. It was 21-18. Where did this come from? Washington got killed by Tampa and the Baker for 5 touchdowns. This is the preseason bullshit. This is Washington but this is Cincinnati with no preseason. I don't know who their defensive coordinator is, but he should be fired. It's not acceptable to give up this points to a rookie. You've got to blitz the rookie. Joe Burrow never lose a week 3 game since his career started for the Bengals. Well, probably not at LSU either. You can't look at it. I mean, it was the proper move play. all you can do is you got to bet before the game, unless you're Bernie Madoff. Then you can bet after, or not even bet. I mean, there's nothing you can do. They were down 0-2. They played KC well. That's the only reason they played them. Okay, they look better. They should have beat Mahomes. Washington gets buried, and then they barely beat the Giants. And there you go. So, good bet? Yes. But had we known they had no defense, then the play was over, because there's no way Washington does not have a defense. So now it's week 3. Now we come into week 4. We have a little bit better understanding of the teams. We starting to see, Dallas's defense really isn't showing up. Baltimore's not really showing up. We'll go through the teams. But this is all. See, you have to adjust now. Okay, Cincinnati is going to not have a defense, and they're going to be an over team, and Chase looks good, and Burrow looks good. Okay, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about my offense. But I realize I have no defense. They're now like the Arizona Cardinals. They're like the Rams. They're no defense and a good offense. So we get that. That's okay. That's what we're going to bet them as, an over team now. We're not going to trust them. We're not going to bet them to win. Unless they're a dog, we're going to bet them over. But that's what you learn. That's why it takes a few weeks. These idiots don't do preseason, which doesn't help us. But, that's all you can do. You look at it, you study it. That's why I learned the teams, right? Okay, Cincinnati's now an over team. They're not an A team. Baltimore over team. I mean, we can go through the list. I don't think there's too many A teams. The best team statistically now is Buffalo. It was New Orleans. Is Philadelphia's defense that good? They held New Orleans to 12 points. New Orleans looks like they have a good. So it's like it's going to New Orleans now. Tampa is pretty good, although they lost to who did they lose to? Tampa loses to Denver, Bo Nix. So Bo Nix, what I see is the rookies are throwing the ball 50 times. Caleb threw 50 times. Caleb can't throw 50 times. Bo Nix, okay. Daniels yesterday was like 29 to 30, or 27 to 29 or something. Where's the pressure? You've got to sack these guys. You can't just sit there. You can't play a soft zone. This coach, I mean, we've shown you what to do with Caleb. Blitz him. Houston blitzed them. The other team blitzed them. Believe me, Green Bay, Minnesota will blitz the shit out of them. Detroit will. What are you doing not blitzing the guy? So, again, still no points. But look at who's better? Bo Nix, Daniels, or Caleb? Who's better now? And it looks like it's Daniels 1, Bo Nix 2, Penix 3. Imagine what Penix will do when he gets in. And then Caleb's still struggling with the Bears, right? And he's got the receivers, right? Although Keenan Allen's out, he's got DJ Moore, and he's got, Romo Doozy, who's okay, but, he needs to play Oregon State. And that's what's going on. So, had a big winner in Buffalo and had a loser with Cincinnati. That's what happens. So, anyway, we moved the chapter to this week. So, let's go through the line. We've got Dallas, 4.5, 44. So what do we do? Do we trust Dallas? We know Dak's going to throw 2-3 interceptions. We know, I don't know what Daniel Jones is. He's terrible. And yet they won. Didn't they win the game? Yeah, they beat Cleveland 21-15. That shows you how bad Cleveland is. So the Giants are playing good against Washington and then Cleveland. Here you get Dallas, a team they normally get killed by. Dallas is so bad they're only 4.5. And then it's Thursday, so Dallas has to travel to New York for our Thursday game after getting killed by Baltimore. So Dallas got killed by Baltimore, and the week before, Dallas got killed by New Orleans. Do we have any faith in Dallas's defense? Well, no, but it's Daniel Jones. Maybe I'd be more worried if it was Danny DeVito. I'd definitely be worried. But Daniel Jones doesn't scare me. Does Dallas have a defense? Or the Giants have a defense? I don't know. I think they just played two really bad quarters. Although Washington, they held to 21. But see, this is the problem with the matchup. You see the matchups. Andy Dalton get chance to play Bengals week 4. You think revenge factor? Sure. Yeah, I was looking at that. I go, oh, they get Carolina now with Steve Young. That would have been the play. But with Andy Dalton, I'm not sure they can beat Andy. I think I got to play the game over because they scored 37 on a freaking Oakland team with a good defense. And if Cincinnati's not going to blitz, he's going to pick them apart too. I mean, what's the over in the game? 47. I mean, this is a joke. 47 over 41's a joke. So what do we do with Dallas? I mean, they're terrible. They scored a little late because Baltimore, again, Lamar, 3 plays punt, 3 plays punt. He can't hold the lead. He doesn't understand. I mean, you've got to be able to run the ball. You have Derrick Henry. What the fuck are you doing? And you got Lamar, who's a running back. So why aren't you running these guys in the fourth quarter when you need first downs to put away the game? This is twice now. You almost fucked up in the fourth quarter. All right, we'll go through the games. Pittsburgh, 1.5, 40, we'll call it, to Indy. We've got Green Bay, 2.5, 43.5 to Minnesota. Good game there. We got Houston, 6.45. This line changed from 4.5 because Jacksonville gave up another. What did they give up? They lost. They put up. Buffalo put up 50 on them. I loved it. I don't like Buffalo too much, but I hate Jacksonville more. I was happy to see that. Where was Trevor Lawrence? Did he play? Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? Atlanta, 1.5, 42. This is down from 44 already. 42.5. Good game, Atlanta, New Orleans. The Rams and the Bears. How are the Bears favored? The Bears are favored by 3 and 41. Even Tutu Atwell can, handle the Bears. Rams not great defense. Caleb might have a decent day if they don't blitz them, but hopefully the Rams will blitz. Philadelphia, 2.5, 45 to Tampa. I'm not sure I understand this line. I'll go through my lines in a minute. Cincinnati, 4.5, 48 to Carolina, as we just talked. The Jets, 7.38.5 to Denver. The problem with most people is they'll look at the score yesterday, Buffalo winning. They'll look at the Cincinnati game, and that's all they'll see. They won't look at the whole picture. They'll just look at the game going, oh, that was high scoring, so I'm going to bet over in this game. That's the problem. People don't understand. No, it's like poker. Yeah, I got a flush last hand. That doesn't mean you're getting a flush this hand. Yeah, we do play the streaks in roulette and baccarat. We do play those streaks, but you can't in football. Now the game's not at Cincinnati, and they're now playing Washington, so you can't do it. Cincinnati's had a very easy schedule: New England, Washington, and Carolina, and they could be 0-4. I mean, this is insane. The Jets, -7 and 38. That's a big number against Denver. Here we go now. Arizona, 3.5, 50.5, down from 5 and up from 49. Interesting. We now have 2 explosive teams playing. The Niners, 10, 39.5 to New England. I wouldn't touch this with the 10-foot pole. Oakland, 1 and 37.5 to Cleveland. They should shut them out. Deshaun Watson's terrible, but Oakland didn't. What the fuck did they play? These are the worst coaches in the world. This is like when we bet baseball and it's all minor league. There's very few professional baseball players playing. They're all minor leaguers. That's why you have no idea what's going on. And that's what's happening here is Oakland is these coaches are terrible. The Cincinnati coach, you didn't blitz Daniels once? Really? Guy's a rookie. You didn't blitz him once. I don't know if they blitzed New England. Sean McVay should have good game plan against rookie quarterbacks. Well, I don't know. Should he? Does he? They beat the fucking Niners, so I got to give them credit there. I can't imagine why they're the underdog to the Bears. I don't get this Caleb thing. Oh, let's bet the Bears because Caleb. What is that? Game of the week, KC 839 to San Diego. What's Herbert's status? Herbert has a high ankle sprain. He didn't finish the game. If he's out, then we're going to go hard with KC. That there's no question about it. Buffalo, Baltimore, interesting. Now, after last night, Baltimore is 2.5 and 45.5. That number hasn't changed. Tennessee, Miami. We have Tennessee. Oh, well, they're both favored by 1.5. Who do you want? So you can have either one as the dog and the over and the total's 37. Now, I don't know how long Tagg's out, but if he's out, Skylar Thompson's out. Tennessee's terrible. I think here's where you don't try to figure the winner. You just bet it under. No quarterback. And the Detroit Lions are 4.5 down from 5. And 46.5, 47 to Seattle. All right, so that's the pro spread going in. Okay. My line, Dallas -7. It's Dallas -4.5. Dallas apparently, I don't know, is Micah Parsons not playing the games? How the fuck can you have Micah Parsons and you're giving up all these points to New Orleans and all these points to Baltimore with Micah Parsons? Unbelievable. Why is the coach and quarterback still there? I have no idea. It's very hard to bet Dallas. And anyway, I don't know if they could win a game in the SEC. I would take Alabama against them and Georgia, and it looks like Old Mississippi and might even Tennessee and Texas over Dallas. I don't think they could come in 5th place in the SEC. A lot of talent, bad coach, bad quarterback. I love how these guys try to, Dak Prescott's not bad. Dak Prescott stinks. They had 6 points on Baltimore. It was 28-6 late, about 3/4 of the way through the 4th quarter. And if they don't recover the onside kick, which I don't know what Baltimore, their coaching is terrible. He does a squib kick. So he lays it down and he kicks it. And it's like, it's like a screwball. Why does the Baltimore guy go over? It didn't go 10 yards. It was like 7 yards in. Don't touch it. Let it go. You don't need to touch it. It's got to go 10 yards, and it wasn't going to go 10 yards. So you try to pick up a screwball, and, of course, you fumbled, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? All right, anyway, I don't know. Hard to bet Dallas. So we got to go over or under, which, okay. Then I'm like, how do you bet over with Daniel Jones? So we will see. We gotta look at injuries, but my spread was Dallas 7. All right, Pitt and Indy. Pitt under team, is Russell Wilson back? Yeah, we'll see. So we got to wait for Russell Wilson. Field sucks. Indy, played a terrible game against the Bears. Pitt's favored over under 40. It's a Steeler game. You just, probably low scoring. I don't see Indy doing anything there. The quarterback's not going. Richardson's terrible. This is the problem when you get a good running quarterback. You need to throw the ball, and you can't. This is a very good game. I have Minnesota laying 3 to Green Bay. They're clearly the better team. Green Bay's a 2.5 point favorite. Is Jordan Love playing? Now, he was not out. He was questionable last week. Then game time decision, they didn't play him because his knee's probably a lot worse. And I don't know if they're fucking around to try to get the team to prepare for Jordan Love. Willis will not, he ain't winning this game. I think Minnesota is a very live dog in the game. Over under, God knows. All of a sudden, Sam Darnold looks like he did at USC playing against Stanford. Should be a very good game. I don't know over under. Minnesota had a good defense. Could be an over. Pittman covering machine. Well, yeah, and an under machine. That was our lock last week with San Diego. It was beautiful, and it was an under. This game doesn't show as an over and under. I got to get more into my stats, which I just updated, but I'm doing class now, and then I'll look at my stats I did after. Houston is 6-45 over Jacksonville. Jacksonville needs a new coach again. Houston, I'm not sold on them. They're favored every week. I mean, they got killed by Minnesota. Here they get Jacksonville, a team they can handle better. 45. Houston doesn't have a defense. I don't think Jacksonville does. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence is terrible. See, again, how long did they go with the guy until they realize he's no good? It's sort of like, how long do you date a girl till you realize you're not interested in her? Yeah, she's okay, but how long do you stick it out before you realize you're in a bad situation? That's like a lot with people like should get divorced, but they don't because of the kids, or they're used to they're comfortable, though they don't want to be alone. All these bullshit excuses. So that's kind of what happens. So how long do you stick with Trevor Lawrence? How long, look at Chicago. They got rid of Trubisky, then they got rid of Fields. They're pretty good at getting rid of their quarterbacks. So it's Trevor Lawrence is terrible. Atlanta, New Orleans, very good game. I had New Orleans -3. Atlanta's -1.5. I think this is the tease the dog game. Over under a 42.5. I don't know. New Orleans beat up on Dallas. Maybe that shows you how bad Dallas's defense is. Then they get Philly, and look what they did with Philly. Philly all of a sudden shut them down. So this is really the problem. It's you've got to know each team to make those adjustments to figure out what's going on, right? So, when they play one team, you think, aha, I got it. That's why you can't do that. And that's why I say it's careful this week and then to the next week to go and say, well, look at Buffalo. They scored 50 on Jackson. They'll score 50 on Baltimore. You can't do that. But what you got to do is look at it and look at the overall picture. Like Cincinnati, are they now an over team? Well, they held New England, who doesn't have an offense. Then they scored against KC, and now what was this against Washington? They need to fire their defensive coordinator. They need to fire their head coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a good offensive coordinator, again, but you don't need that. You got Joe Burrow. But what you need is they need a defense. And they had one, and then now apparently they don't. And if the coach, now that's my point. How long is the coach going to go with the defensive coordinator? The Lions are already too long on their defense. They should have been fired last year, but they're staying with them and watching the other teams light them up. The Rams lit them up, Tampa lit them up, and Arizona lit them up. So now we're going to see Seattle light up. Okay. But at what point you got to get rid of your defensive coordinator, and that's the problem. So, and we'll get to Detroit later. So this should be a good game. All right. LA, I have 3 over the Bears. The Bears are 3 over LA. I don't see how Caleb could be favored over anybody. He can't beat anybody. The Rams will probably blitz him. And I don't see how the Rams are the Bears are gonna stop the Rams. Even without Cooper Kupp and Puka, all of a sudden Tutu Atwell lit it up. They beat the Niners, who have a better defense than the Bears. So there you go there. Philadelphia, 2.5, 45. I had Tampa 3 over Philly. The game's in Tampa. Tampa's playing pretty well. Philly goes and what did they do week 2? So Philly loses to Atlanta, to Kirk Cousins of all people. And then they go ahead and they beat New Orleans. So it should have been the other way around. They should have beat Atlanta at home and lost at New Orleans. So after that mess, they go to Tampa. So they're playing the whole NFC South. And Tampa's played very well. And then last week, they didn't show up. What was it last week? They played Denver killed them. Where was their offense? So now we're confused with Tampa. They go into Detroit and win, and then they lose at home to Denver. Okay, Denver's got Bo Nix, not a problem, but it wasn't even competitive. So this is what we're dealing with. The personalities of these teams are not known to us yet. We have to be flexible and understand it, and that's why you got to be open-minded. You cannot make judgment on the team yet. You don't know the team. It's so bad. The coaching is so bad, and the players are so minor league that you have no idea what's going on. There's no way the Bengals should have lost yesterday to Jalen Daniels. Where was any blitz? What are you doing? Blitz, any quarterback doesn't like the blitz. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady doesn't like the blitz. Just amazing the defensive coordinators. You don't think Eagles get the revenge due to losing to Tampa in the playoffs? Embarrassing. Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really picked a game. I'm just saying, should they get revenge? I don't know how good's Philly and how good's Tampa right now. Cincinnati should never have lost, losing the first 2 games. Backs against the wall, and they lose to Washington. I can't answer that question because I don't know. Yes, it is revenge, but every revenge game doesn't matter. Tampa did get revenge against Detroit, but I think Tampa just played a good game. But then what happened against Denver? I mean, so that's the problem. These teams are not coached at all. There's no preseason. So now we're in week 4. These guys are finally in shape, and these coaches should all be fired because it's their job to get them in. It's their job to prepare them to be ready to play week 1, not week 6, not week 10. Good luck with that. Cincinnati coach needs to be fired. We'll see who else. Dallas coach needs to be fired. Giants coach should never have been hired. Okay, so, I had Tampa -3 here. Tampa home dog, I don't know. Philly, I don't know. Are they playing good? They don't. Is Brown playing? I mean, we got to see the injuries. Philly only put up 15 on New Orleans, but their defense looks like it came back. So maybe Philly's starting to get the Georgia boys going. That Jalen Carter, the number 1 pick, looked pretty good last week. Cincinnati, I have 7 over Carolina. It's 4.5. I'm not going to keep chasing red. So if a black's hitting at roulette, you keep betting black. You don't go red's due. So I'm not going to go Cincinnati's due because they're not. They got Carolina with Andy Dalton. I think one thing we see, Cincinnati has T. Higgins back, has Chase, has Burrow. They're all healthy, and nobody's stopping them. The question with Carolina, with Andy Dalton, are they really that good? In the guy's first game in 2 years, and he beats up Oakland. Did they even blitz him? Why are these teams not blitzing? Why are they all playing the soft zone where everybody is running underneath and the quarterback could go 19 of 20 on 5-yard passes? Where's the blitzing? I mean, it's unbelievable how stupid these defensive coordinators. It's almost like they're all the same. All the offensive coordinators are the same. We're going to run the same stupid plays. All the defensive coordinators are going to play this soft, too deep zone, and we'll go for it on fourth down every time. I mean, what is that? So I saw Washington did that. They're out of their minds. You got the ball 4th and 2 at the 30. You're not kicking a field goal. You won't last long there. It's that guy from who's the coach from? He was from Seattle. Then he went to New Orleans. He sucked there, and now he's at Washington. He's sucking there. But yeah, I mean, if you're not going to rush Jalen Daniels, yeah, he's not bad. Obviously, he's a good quarterback. He's not ready yet. That's why you blitz him. All right, the JETSs, I had 3 over Denver. It's 7. That is too big of a number, and over under 38. We know I like the JETSs, and we know I like Aaron Rodgers and their defense. Denver went into Tampa and blew them out. I do not like. I don't like the Jets laying 7 here. It's too much. I also think the 38 is really low. Although Denver's showing a defense, the Jets are not showing a defense yet. What was the Jets? Oh, 24-3 against New England. Well, we're going to see the real New England team's going to be 24-3 every week. Or when they bring in Drake May, and then they'll lose 24-0. So Denver's showing a defense. The Jets starting to show a defense. They didn't show it against the Niners. Coach didn't have them ready for it. I don't know. I don't know what the score is. I gotta look at my numbers a little bit more before I put scores down. But it should be a good game. But I think that spread's too high. It should be. There's no reason it should be a 7. Arizona, Washington. I have Arizona -7. It's 3.5. Now after watching last night, because these spreads were made yesterday. After last night, you're now going, well, does Washington, are they going to have this 40-point offense? Or is Arizona going to blitz them? Now, Arizona held Detroit's offense to 20 points. So in one sense, that's what you have there. I agree, TK. I miss strong defensive-minded coaches like Bill Belichick, Rex Ryan, Wade Phillips. Yeah, well, I mean, they're not. You got to play pressure defense. Even Bill Walsh did it, and we know Parcells did. Who has the Lawrence Taylor? Well, let's see. That's Pittsburgh. T.J. Watt. That's Micah Parsons in Dallas. Bosa, who's always hurt but playing, and Khalil Mack at San Diego, San Francisco, Kansas City with Spagnuolo. So it's almost like you got to find the defensive coaches who do this, and every other defensive coach, it's an over. Because if they're not going to blitz these guys, every team has the same play calling. It's all a bunch of bullshit, wide receiver screens, and let's go on fourth down. It's okay. I mean, it's just insanity. So with that said, you got to find it. So you've got the defensive stars. So Pittsburgh, yeah, let's play them under every week because let's face it, Justin Fields is horrible and they got this great defense. So they're not going to score and you're not going to score on them. And that should be the basic game plan. Or the over, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, we're going over because they're going to score and they obviously can't stop Kansas State and just keep blowing. I mean, that's how I lock Kansas State against BYU, both great defenses, good offenses, but great defenses. Do we have great defenses here? I mean, I updated my spreadsheet. I'll go into it in a minute. I just did it. And then I didn't want to wait too long because I want to get I got to get new pens and markers. So I got to go to Staples and then I got to go to the pool, but they're in different directions. So, is Arizona, they held the Lions to 20, or did the Lions hold themselves to 20? the Lions have that one pass rusher that pressures the quarterback so they really don't blitz because they held Arizona down, but Washington didn't do anything with Burrow. So if you got clean pockets here, yeah, this could be a very high scoring game if we believe Washington from last night and not against the Giants 21-18, which is what makes it confusing. How are they going to be against Arizona's defense? Oh, I got to put my defensive numbers in. Yeah, see, once I put my offensive and defensive numbers and yards in, it makes it a lot easier because then I can see, oh, they're a shit defense and they're a good defense. New England, San Francisco. I have Frisco -7. They're 10.5. Over under 40. I have no idea. New England beats Cincinnati, which now you see is not that big of a deal, and then they get killed by the JETSs. The Niners give up, they got a 10 lead on the Niners on the Rams without their receivers, and they give it up. They don't look like the Niner defense, and the defensive coordinator needs to get fired. He's a new defensive coordinator. He's clueless. He must be one of these two deep zone guys, which doesn't work. I don't know why they think zones work. I mean, the guys just run right through them, and the guys are wide open and no pressure on the quarterback. You can't have let's rush one and play 9-10 in coverage. That won't work because they're just standing there and the runners are going through and they know when to stop. I don't know what to do here. I mean, does Frisco have a defense anymore? Didn't look like it. New England has no offense. We know that going in. We didn't realize how bad Cincinnati's defense is. It's terrible. And then we got New England. Do they have a defense? The Jets got 24-3 on them. I don't know. I'm not laying anywhere near 10 with the Niners at this point. Too many injuries. McCaffrey, he's got an Achilles and a calf injury. He's in Germany at some doctor there, probably some Nazi doctor who's, did all the concentration camp test. Oakland, 3 is my line. It's 137 to Cleveland, and there's a few Cleveland -1s. I don't understand this spread at all. Cleveland's terrible with Deshaun Watson. They just fucking lost to the Giants. Oakland, which team is it? The team in week 2 or the team in week 3? Aaron Paris is in way over his head. Minshew's fine. I don't know what happened with they got killed by Carolina, okay? To a quarterback that hadn't played in 2 years. Did they blitz him at all? I mean, he just sat back there and threw. I mean, you can't give these quarterbacks time. You've got to put the pressure. You have the best defensive tackle end in the league. Where did he get a sack? I mean, come on. So Pierce doesn't know what he's doing. So again, another coach who's in over his head. Most of the league's coaches are in over their head. They don't know what they're doing, which leads you to all these inconsistencies. They don't know how to fix anything. They're all offensive coordinators from the Shanahan and McVay tree, which, what does that get? Except for Andy Reid. He's from the Mike McCarthy. No, he's from the who was the guy with the mustache that was the Green Bay coach that they won the Super Bowl with? That coach was from the Bill Walsh tree. He was the offensive coordinator for Bill Walsh and the Niners, goes to Green Bay. And Andy Reid was a coordinator for Green Bay, and that's where he learned his stuff from the other guy. I can't think of his name. Really good coach, not McCarthy, the guy before McCarthy. And anyway, so you got Andy Reid over here, and you got Sean McVay. No, you got Sean McVay, and then you've got Sean Payton. They're the only 3 coaches in the league that you got rid of fucking Belichick and you got rid of Coach Pete. Are you kidding me? You get rid of Coach Pete for some offensive guy. Oh my God. It's just scary. I think they think that points will draw the audience, but the real football fan, it's like the NBA. I can't watch it because it's all 3-point shot. So does that draw audience because the scoring? No, people want to see good basketball, not high scoring. High scoring makes the product suck. It's like baseball sucks. Can't watch it. Some guy, I'm in the hot tub. Some guy's talking about the Tigers. Oh, they're going to be in the playoffs. So who's the Tigers? Oh, baseball. Well, what's that? Oh, you mean minor league? The minor league team is going to be in the playoffs? Do we give a fuck? I'm watching gold go through the roof. I don't really care about the Tigers. I don't understand why people are homers. Why do you care? Well, I live in Detroit. I should root for Detroit. Why? Did they give you a job? No. Did they put food on your table? No. Then what the fuck do you care about them for? Anyway, so in this game, Cleveland, is terrible. Oakland, Minshew's got Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams. Cleveland doesn't have anybody. Chubb's hurt. I don't know. Kansas City, 839.5 to San Diego. San Diego, Justin Herbert has a high ankle sprain. He left the game with Pittsburgh. I think the backup's hurt. So if they're going into this with the third string, we're all over Mahomes again. We will see. We don't know if they're out. Probably. Baltimore and Buffalo, good game. I got Baltimore -3. They're -2.5, only because they're at home. After winning Buffalo yesterday, you come to two conclusions. They're a live dog, and there's going to be a lot of points. So we'll see what we do there. But, I mean, those are the most obvious. Got to check injuries and everything. Tennessee, Miami. Miami, I believe, Taig's out. I believe Skylar Thompson's out. I don't know who their third quarterback is. Maybe it's Joe Flacco. Dalton's already on a team. Maybe they can pick up Bryce Young. He's available. They should trade for Kyle Trask from Tampa, who's very good. I don't see how Miami's favored. And then yet even the starter Levis is terrible on Tennessee. So you can't bet Levis, another terrible quarterback, and you can't. Who are you going to bet on Miami? Tyreek Hill's playing, and who cares? There's nobody who can throw him the ball. That's the problem with spending $30 million on a receiver. He's good, but if you don't have a quarterback, nobody going to throw him the ball. And he looked better because he was with Mahomes. I guarantee that. Oh, yeah, they lost. What was the score? Yeah, they lost to Seattle 24-3. Yeah, Tyreek Hill really had a big game, I guess. And last but not least, Detroit. I got them 7 over Seattle. They always lose to Seattle. It's a matchup problem because Seattle can throw the ball, and Detroit is very weak against passing. Good quarterbacks, good passing team because their secondary sucks and their defensive coordinator doesn't. It's all up to if the guy can sack them. So they got one guy on the team that's good. He's the defensive end. I don't know, Whittingham or whatever, and he can't. He sacks the quarterback. So all you got to do is just put a tight end on him, keep him away. The secondary can't cover this new guy. When you're starting cornerbacks from Alabama, you got big problems. All right. And then the zero gets called for pass interference like every other pass. He keeps, grabbing the hand. He doesn't understand. You can't touch the other guy after 5 yards, and he keeps doing it. So Seattle will pick on him all game with Lockhart and Metcalf. Smith-Njigba is starting to catch more, but the problem is you're not throwing the ball to Lockett. I'd rather throw the ball to Lockett than Smith-Njigba, who's not anything special. So that's what you have in the pros. I'll put in quarterbacks and my defensive points later. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Again, this bullshit. We don't want to get anybody hurt, but then we'll play a game on Thursday. And now you've totally fucked the Monday night team. So you had Buffalo and Jacksonville added to a Monday night. Now they get short weeks as well as Cincinnati and Washington. How is Washington going to bounce back? Now they got to go to Arizona on a short week. But how are they going to bounce back after this win? Everybody expects them to put up 38 on Arizona. I have no idea. You don't know. Daniels is too new. Oh, he has a game because Cincinnati doesn't blitz. Buda Baker's going to blitz for Arizona, I guarantee you. He might have 10 sacks in the game because you can't just sit there and now you see, wait, we can't just sit there and let him do it. It's like Caleb. You blitz him. You can't just sit back there and let him just, any quarterback, a high school guy can, if you give him 5 seconds to throw the ball, he's going to have completions too. Is the league office saying don't blitz the new guys so we can promote them like in the NBA and make them superstars like Michael Jordan? I love that rule. I love the NBA. Oh, if you touch LeBron James, it's a foul. You can't guard him. So we can build the league into shit. So that's it. I gotta look at that again. We have to understand the teams, and this is what's really hard. We think we have a feel that Baltimore has no defense. We know Dallas doesn't have a defense. We've seen these under teams: New England, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. All these teams without quarterbacks, and that's really what we're driving at. And that's the whole point of it. So that's what we're looking at. The team, we can bet on Joe Burrow. Now, he did not kill us yesterday. He put up 33, 34 points. Burrow wasn't the problem. The coach was the problem. The defensive coordinator was the problem. You scored 28-1 on the Giants. You beat the Giants 21-18. Where the fuck are you getting 38 on Cincinnati? But we don't know Cincinnati. They looked very good against Kansas City, but Burrow picked and micked, and they were longer drives. I mean, I saw them since they missed a field goal, kicked a couple others. What are they kicking field goals against Washington for? Tampa Bay put up 45 on them. Cincinnati should have put up 40. So we're beginning to see, it's like a newborn, who are they? And you're starting to see them grow up, and you're going, okay, Washington looks like an over team. Cincy looks like an over team. Buffalo's doing well. Baltimore, no defense. Dallas, they suck. And you just go down the list. The Rams and the Niners got injuries. The Lions, same shit. Minnesota, Green Bay look very good now. One of those will win the division. The other one will probably get the wild card. Everybody thinks, Detroit's going to win the division. I go, there's no fucking. If Jordan Love didn't get hurt, Green Bay was winning the division. And now the way Darnold looks, Minnesota and Green Bay are going to fight it out for the division. Lions have no chance. They don't have the secondary to play either of these teams. And this is the problem. And then you draft a guy from Alabama thinking, since when does Alabama have good guys in the secondary? Never. And so therefore you're going to the wrong, you should be going to LSU or Georgia. You don't go there, but then you stick in rookies thinking this is the best I got. I have nobody. So I'll put the rookie in, and then I can blame the rookie when I don't blitz the guys. So we can see what's going on. There's a lot of bad teams. So you got to be careful. There's a lot of inconsistencies. I mean, I was blind to the over last night. Why was I blind? Because Kansas City didn't light up Cincinnati, and Washington didn't score on the Giants. So why would I think that the Washington, and they got killed by Tampa? At what point did you see this happening? You didn't. Why? Because these are a bunch of shit coaches and bad players, except for Burrow. Burrow, I read that, and I got what I thought from Burrow, 30 points. What was my score in the game? I had 37-17 Cincinnati was my score. I was damn close on Cincinnati. It's the 38, not the 17 from Washington. But I had Cincinnati pegged, and that's the problem. Now, with that, I was picking a 50. I probably should have went over 40, as it turns out. But I didn't think Washington was strong offensively. Now, are they? Okay, they had a good game against Cincinnati. This week they're at Arizona. They should have another good game. But when they get in against Philadelphia, they play them twice a year and Dallas twice a year. We'll see if Dallas finds their defense, and then we'll see if looks like Philadelphia's got their defense back. They're rolling again. It's this no preseason. So the players are just learning each other for the first 4 weeks of the year. What the fuck is that? They should not be just learning themselves the first 4 weeks. So Cincinnati's 0-3 because they didn't play training camp. Well, fire the coach. That's what training camp's for, to get your defense ready. You didn't do it. You failed. You're fired. If I was the owner, he'd be fired 5 years ago. I would never have hired him. Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, yeah, we talked about it's also the players. We do have a Lawrence Taylor kind of in TJ Watt. So Tomlin's smart enough to play to his strength. So he puts Fields in, runs the ball, short passes. Don't fuck up. Let our defense win the game. So you're pretty good there. What is this? And that's really smart coaching. But most of these coaches, well, it's 4th down, we need to go for it because the analytics say so. You're insane. Washington should never have went for it on 4th down. And then the play they run, a pass over the middle, like a 15-yard completion with a rookie quarterback. You're out of your fucking mind. That coach should be fired right now. I'd fire that, whoever that guy is, Gans. Yeah, you worked so well at at Atlanta and wherever else you've been. Yeah, pretty good. And he's a defensive coach. He was like supposedly the defensive coordinator for Seattle with Richard Sherman. He hasn't had a team with a good defense yet outside of that. So it's not him. It was Coach Pete. Anyway, see, it's those things that you shouldn't be doing. You should not be going for it on 4th and 1 against Cincinnati. You need to kick your field goal because if you don't get it, the game's over. They got lucky. I looked in the box score and I looked at drives and it was like touchdown, missed field goal, touchdown. There was no punt in the game. Nobody punted. I've never seen that before. And I'm wondering what happened to Cincinnati's defense, or do they not have one? All right, giving up 25 to Mahomes and losing on a field goal. Okay, I get that. It's your job to get him ready for this week. You're 0-2, and he failed. Terrible coach. Sorry. Just let Chase coach it. He motivates the players. Anyway, it's very disappointing to lose like that. College. I'm just going to go through the lines. There's too many games, and we'll go through them more in depth tomorrow. Army 13.5, 45.5 on Thursday. Miami of Florida 1955 to Virginia Tech. Rutgers 3-46 against Washington. Little surprise there. NC State 7-47 to Northern Illinois. Are they going to pull a Notre Dame or are they going to pull a Buffalo? BC 13-55 to Western Kentucky. Indiana 7-55 to Maryland. Michigan 9-38 to Minnesota. Nebraska 10-49 at Purdue. Are they good enough to go on the road? They lost Illinois. Old Mississippi 17.5, only 52 total against Kentucky. Is their defense that good? I don't think so. Tulane 6-64 to South Florida. South Florida is good offense. UConn 5.5, 46 over Buffalo. How can UConn be favored over anybody? The Navy 3.5, 56.5 to UAB. Kansas 259 to TCU. Kansas State 555 to Oak State. Oklahoma 346 at Auburn. Is Oklahoma any good? They're making a quarterback change. Baylor 345.5 to BYU. After that incredibly bad coaching move by their defensive coordinator, who hopefully has been fired, how does Baylor react after giving up the miracle to that? I mean, they got to be, what's the point, guys? We have the worst coach in football. Iowa State 13-44 to Houston. Texas 38-61 to Old Mississippi State, who's just horrible. Toledo killed them. Texas A&M 352 to Arkansas. Texas Tech 358 to Cincinnati. Should be a good game. UCF 1463 to Colorado. UCF could score 50 points here. Colorado has no D. Colorado's not going to be able to stop them. James Madison 2057 over Ball State. Texas State 856 over Sam Houston, who's not that bad this year. Wake Forest 361 to Lou Lafayette. Played Tulane pretty tough. Vegas, this is a very good game. Vegas 352 to Fresno State. This is an outstanding game. Central Michigan 354 to San Diego State. Eastern Michigan 1448 to Kent State. Kent State's the Z team and terrible. Miami of Ohio 1847 to UMass, another Z team who sucks, but Miami of Ohio is an under. Ohio 1246 to Akron, another Z team. All the Z teams live in the MAC. Now, are they Z teams because they live in the MAC, or are they Z teams because they play Ohio State or Alabama or Tennessee and get blown out 82 to nothing? And they look like a Z team, but are they really that bad? We'll see. Ohio's not much of an offense. Be careful on that one. USC 1450 to Wisconsin. Now, Van Dyke's out. Hurt his knee. He's gone for the year. USC, what can you say about him? The defensive coordinator should be fired. I know he's from UCLA. What the fuck were they doing at the end of the Michigan game? They're handing the ball off to the fullback, and nobody can tackle him. Are you kidding me? Do you not have defensive players on your defense that can tackle? Did you not go over tackling drills? The UCLA guy, was he that good, or was the fact that the three pros that got drafted, the twins and this other guy on the defensive line, were so good that they made the coach look good? But the coach I saw, the defense I saw, letting Michigan just basically hand the ball off and run up the middle and get 80 yards on the last drive was absolutely ridiculous. Like, the quarterback couldn't throw. How you lost that game? And Lincoln Riley's no better. The first half, he wasn't throwing the ball. It was all second half. He had no idea. He was totally lost out there. Yeah, 3rd and 1. Let's run it up the middle and lose 3 yards. Yeah, let's do it again and again. Unbelievable. Notre Dame 6-48 to Louisville. This should be a very good game. I don't think Notre Dame's going to win it. Liberty 3-62 to App State. App State, their defense is gone. Their coach moved on. They got a new coach. He's not that good. Aguilar is still a good quarterback, but this defense sucks. Of course, a lot of it is Clemson scoring 80 points on it. Marshall 5.5, 54 to Western Michigan. I don't know. Western's no defense, but a pretty good offense. Georgia State, Georgia Southern, a big rivalry, I assume. Georgia State 3-58. The game's at Georgia State. Both teams don't have a defense. Duke 356 to North Carolina. This is a big rivalry. I remember that from my accounting teacher. She was from North Carolina. She says, "Oh, we're talking Michigan, Ohio State." She said, "Oh, no. Duke and North Carolina is the big rivalry." So in that case, North Carolina gave up 70 points to James Madison. What do you do with this team? Good luck. East Car 454 to UTSA. UTSA stinks this year. East Car is pretty good. Bowling Green 949 to Old Dominion. Yeah, okay. Bowling Green is the over team. LTAC 351 to Florida International. Florida International looks like a live dog here. They've been scoring. Clemson 21-57 to Stanford. Clemson's been racking up the points. Stanford is they're not the Z team they've been for the last 5 years. They're actually a B team. Seem to have a pretty decent defense. Daniels, I don't like their quarterback. Does Clemson blow them out? We'll see. Real good game. Ohio State 25-49 to Michigan State. Well, I should call them against Oregon State. Childs is okay. He's starting to run more. The defense is very good for Michigan State. It's a 14. Ohio State, what can you say? They got a 7 defense. They're getting 500 yards a game, but they haven't played anybody yet. Michigan State's getting almost 400, and they have won at Maryland and played BC, a very good game. I don't know, but the Oregon State coach, he's played Oregon and Washington every year. This is not a big deal for him to play a big team. It's at Michigan State. It's a kind of a high spread, 25. My line was 17 on this game. I don't know. It's hard to bet against Ohio State. Maybe we look at the total of 49 and figure out something there. Rice 747 to the Z team. Charlotte, North Texas 669 to Tulsa. This game should hit 100. Both are over teams, both with 30 plus defenses. North Texas, we know all about them. We had them with Texas Tech. It was 69, and they played an 84 game. So this should be a very high scoring game. Troy 7.5, 46 to Lou Monroe. Both these teams kind of suck. Very good game here. Could be an upset. Penn State 17-47 to Illinois. And Illinois just went to Nebraska and pounded that defense. Luke Altmaier is very good. They're a quarterback. They have a very strong defense. I think Butkus is playing again. Penn State's got the Kansas offensive coordinator. They will light it up. Both teams have a 13 defense, but Penn State hasn't played it. Well, they played West Virginia. And then Illinois, I don't know what we do here over or under, but I think my spread was 14. Illinois, we'll give them a game. They're not going to get blown out here. Page 2, as that one guy used to say. Georgia against Alabama. Georgia 248.5. We have a 6 defense against the 9 defense. I don't think we can look for the over in this game. I think you got to either go under or there's revenge with Georgia or Alabama's a home dog. There's 18 ways to look at this. Georgia with revenge. Can they revenge them? Just because it's a revenge game doesn't mean you can revenge them. And the way Alabama's playing, the way they handled Wisconsin, Georgia's going to handle them a lot better. Believe me, Georgia, even though they beat Kentucky 13-12, it was a loss for them. Their minds were on Alabama. When they played Clemson and they were focused 34-3. You don't want to get Georgia mad. I mean, the whole team's pros, and they got good coaching. I don't know what to say here. Alabama's looked very good, and going to Wisconsin and what they did there, very impressive. So I don't know what to say here. Normally, A versus A, I take the dog, or I don't know what I'm going to do here. This is a very puzzling. You never see Georgia in a revenge game in 5 years. Just against Alabama in the championship game. They lost the SEC title to Alabama. They gave up a bunch of points. Champion got 17. You got a 51 there. Here's a 65. This should be scoring. LSU 21. LSU is not a 25 defense. South Alabama 26. But I thought they could have scored more on UCLA. New Mexico State. I guess it's a rivalry. New Mexico is 958. They're an over team with a 45 defense. Wow, New Mexico State's a Z team with the 31 defense, so should be points. Florida State, SMU. SMU is a 5-point favorite. SMU all of a sudden woke up against TCU. I don't think they're going to light up. Florida State still has a decent defense, but they still have Buglia, who there's no way in hell can win this game. So until they get off of Buglia and onto a real quarterback, they're going to struggle offensively. So we'll see. The Air Force, 436 to Wyoming. Air Force is an under team. They got a new quarterback they're getting used to. Wyoming sucks. They're a Z team, but they are a little bit better at home. Boise, 7.5, 65 to Washington State. Another game that should be a ton of points. Boise played Oregon, 37-34. You score 34 on Oregon, you can score. And Boise put up a 50 on Georgia Southern. They have a great runner. Gets like 250 yards a game. They're just going to run it down their throat, and there's nothing Washington State can do. Utah and Arizona, is Cam Rising playing game? I'm not even thinking about it. They're 12-point favorites and 50. Arizona with no defense. Fafita has been struggling because there's no running, and again, he lost his coach, and anytime you lose that hurts you. So, Arizona, killer defense. Again, it's Cam Rising playing. And again, I blame Cam Rising for his injury. All right. Yeah, he got pushed. It's like getting pushed into the wall. I got to be smart enough if I'm a right-handed quarterback to cover my right hand and not let my left hand hit. Because I don't care if I break my left hand. I need to throw with my right. How he let his right hand hit the Gatorade is unbelievably stupid. So I'm going to give him he's a stupid quarterback. He's a great quarterback, but how the fuck can you let your hand hit that and then it breaks it and you're out for a month now with a broken finger after missing a year last year? Are you going to play 10 years in college? But I think he gets paid like $1 million, $2 million a year. So I don't. This whole NIL is ridiculous. I read it that Reggie Bush is trying to get NIL money for when he played 20 years ago in college. Really? Good luck with that one. That's ridiculous. Shows you lawyers have nothing better to do than dig up shit and go, hey, well, there was no NIL back then, so you can't use that. Okay. Oregon, 24-55 to UCLA. UCLA stinks. Garber's terrible. No defense. Coach is in way over his head. He should never be coach. That's the problem when you promote your running backs coach to head coach. You got to find a head coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. He might be a good head coach in 5 years, not right now. Oregon 24. This should be pretty easy for Oregon. All right, so that's college. We'll get more in depth tomorrow. Let's see, today's only Tuesday, so Alabama versus Georgia got to be the game of the week. It's got to be the game of the year. You can't find a better game, especially it's revenge. It cost Georgia the playoff. Believe me, Georgia's coming this week. It ain't going to be 13-12. If it is, they're going to win it 13-12. They're coming, and good luck for Milrose. I would think they'd have a better game plan on Milrose by blitzing him and not letting him run around. See, these running quarterbacks, you got to attack them. You can't sit there and let them do their thing. You have to do that. So I think Georgia has a better game plan. I don't mind their quarterback. I don't know what's going on with their running attack and the receivers. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they got all blue chips. So, we'll see. Now, we don't know how good Alabama's defense. They haven't played anybody but Wisconsin, and Van Dyke got hurt in the game. So we have no idea how good their defense is. They played 3 high school teams or 2 high school teams. So we'll see. Cam Rising got to be the most unlucky quarterback. He's just stupid. I mean, okay, I didn't see the knee injury in the Rose Bowl. Okay. But hitting the water cooler, you cannot sit there with your hand and let your right hand hit the cooler. You've got to protect it. And he should have been, he should have just slid or something, but he's probably worried about his knee. The guy pushes him 5 yards out of bounds, didn't get a flag. What the fuck was up with that? He should have stopped when he got out of bounds. I don't know. It just looked bad. Hey, Nick. Fine. Just got back from Vegas for the Raiders games. Couldn't believe my eyes. Yeah, I mean, where was their defense? And Andy Dalton hadn't played in 2 years. How the fuck did they let Andy Dalton light him up? It is unbelievable. I think Pierce is in way over his head. If he doesn't blitz, you got the best defensive lineman in the league. Did he get a sack? Was he even playing? What the fuck was that? And then to not blitz Dalton, who hadn't played in years. I mean, there's something wrong with these defensive coordinators, that's for sure. Stayed at the Bellagio. Yeah, well, the water show is nice. terrible casino odds. Well, you know why? Because it's an MGM casino. You should have went and played at Vegas or the Venetian. Much better odds. All the MGM casinos are horrible odds, especially football. It's 13-10 for teasers. Like later, William Hill probably had 11-10 odds, which is if you walked across the street to the Bally's or that other one that used to be the Barbary Coast, that's whatever the fuck the name is now, they would have probably had 11-10. That's where I bet at. When I say at the Tuscany, I bet at the Tuscany because they're William Hill, or I bet at that used to be Barbary Coast one. That's 11-10. But I stay away from MGM. 13-10. It's they're what the fuck are they? You're supposed to be competing. You're not competing at all. Caesar's good casino. Caesar's is the best. Yeah, Max Prosky didn't blitz once. Couldn't believe it. Well, that's where you wonder if the game's fixed because it is in Vegas. This is the first out. And then Carolina with the quarterback who's, 40 years old, hasn't played since TCU, and he gets you give up 30 points. Let's look at the Raider game from 2 weeks ago. So the Raiders played somebody really good. They beat Baltimore 26-23. They give up 23 to Lamar and the boys. And you're going to give up 36 to Andy Dalton. You give up 23 to Lamar. You win at Baltimore. How the fuck do you lose at home to Carolina? Are you insane? I know they switched quarterback. To me, that game had to be fixed. There's no lot. You can't beat Baltimore and lose to Carolina at home. Are you fucking kidding me? I actually did say Vegas needed this game for their books so bad. The Raiders are not that bad. They played like high school kids. So Vegas needed Carolina. Yeah, and this is the problem of having pro sports in Vegas. How easy is it to fix it? And if Max Crosby didn't get a tackle on Carolina, there's a problem. Now, here comes Carolina this week. They're at home to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 0-3 now with their disgusting defense. And Cincinnati will probably blow them out. And you'll go, well, how did Carolina beat Oakland? Because it doesn't make sense. Oakland has a very good defense. How do you put up 36 points and no pressures? What the fuck is that? And that's my point. You should never have teams in Vegas. They're all going to be – I remember when I was younger, you couldn't bet the UNLV football games in Vegas. They wouldn't allow action on the college basketball when they had that great team, or football. You couldn't – if I was at Caesars or anywhere – I couldn't bet on UNLV because it's in Vegas. Now all of a sudden, yeah, and the Raiders, are you telling me they actually beat Baltimore and played that game against Carolina? What do you want me to believe that's a real game? I not at all. Everyone and their mom was betting the Raiders. I heard it all over well, again, that's because it's in Vegas, right? So they're betting they just beat Baltimore. How the fuck could they lose to Carolina, even with Andy Dalton? He hadn't played in 2-3 years, right? They knew they needed it. You can't bet New Jersey schools in New Jersey either, Rutgers, Yeah, well, you shouldn't be able to because that's the point. So I would bet anything, 10 ounces of gold, that game was fixed, right? I mean, if you watch the plays and you watch what's going on, I was watching it was a Larry Bird thing about the Olympics. It was just about Larry Bird, but he said in the Olympics, the dream team, the first practice against the Chris Webbers and the college guys, they let them win, but they didn't know they let them win. So the college all-star, or the Chris Webbers beat them by like 30 points. And then Chuck Daly said, "Yeah, we let them win. It was to prove a point that you're not that good. So they let them win, and then they beat them by 80 points the next practice, and that's exactly what I think just happened. They let them win. Nobody can be that. How can Carolina put up 36 points on that defense? Are you insane? So now you have to really bring in the whole league going, is anything real in the league, or is it all like last night's game? It's Jalen Daniels on Monday Night Football. Look how good he is. He's a rookie. Shit, Caleb, when he gets on, I'm sure the Bears will win because they want to make Caleb look how good. So it really is amazing how bad, there was other games I said, I think I said it. Oh, the Colorado Baylor game. I said it looked like WWF. They didn't rush the passer at the end. The guys were in the end zone on the other side. The guy throws it. It looked like a WWF script. Okay, we're going to let Colorado win. Okay, yeah, they're down 7. Okay, everybody back off and let him throw and let him catch it. And we get a touchdown. And that coach needs to be fired, and the defensive coordinator, go work at the grocery store. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. So whoever designed that play, and I don't know if the head coach of DC, needs to be fired today. They don't know how to coach. They don't understand any of the concepts, putting pressure on the quarterback. And if you're going to have all these guys deep, if the quarterback's running that way, everybody should be running over. How does the receiver get open? And then the guy tripped. I love that one. The guy guarding him trips, and the guy coming over trips. Oh, yeah, WWF. Real D, how come don't let you bet your home team? Because it's fixed. Fuck, Real D, the league's fixed enough as it is without the home teams. But, yeah, I mean, they don't. That's why there's never been teams in Vegas, and this is a big problem, letting teams come to Vegas. That's absolutely ridiculous. However, since there's gambling in most of these states now anyway, I guess it really doesn't matter. But yeah, the Oakland Raiders, L. Davis must have turned over in his grave Sunday. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, so how do we figure out the mess? How do we know who's the real Washington, who's the real Cincinnati, who's the real? I think we saw the real Buffalo, and we're seeing the real Dallas and Baltimore. Philly looks a lot better. Tampa, we're not sure. New Orleans, okay, I think they're better. Atlanta, when will Penix get in there? Kirk Cousins is just pathetic. So at what point, what did Atlanta lose by? 22-17. Penix probably wins the game against Kansas City. Again, it's frustrating watching coaches who have the wrong guys in there, and then the guy gets hurt, and then they have to. It's like Brady. Bledsoe was there, wasn't very good, and here's Brady sitting on the bench. Why aren't you playing Brady? Didn't you see Brady was this good in practice? You had to wait for an injury to put Brady in, and then you realize how good he is. How do these coaches not see that? Cam Rising, he wasn't starting. The other guys got hurt, and they put him in, and Van Dyke, and it's just unbelievable. The Fafita, Arizona wasn't their starter. That's what I'm good at catching. Now you're making a switch, Oklahoma. Didn't you see the guy sucked? Didn't you see the backup was better than him? You had to go lose 2 games before you realized that the backup's better than the starter? Or we got to give him a chance? I mean, what is this? We got to give him a chance. Yeah, bullshit. Anyway, so that's what's going on in football. Again, so every Friday, 7 to 8 is a college class. I go through all the games, my picks, my locks, all the picks. At 8 o'clock is the NFL class. I go through everything in the NFL, all my picks and my locks and my plays. And if you want questions and comments, so that's every Friday night. And then Saturday morning, we'll quickly do a little college update, and Sunday morning for the class. And then I do the free stuff, but I can't give you picks. Well, the Bengals is their defense. Burrow looked good. Chase looked good. T. Higgins miraculously recovered from his hamstring. So yeah, you have nothing wrong with their offense. It's their coach. The defense sucks. The defensive coordinator did not blitz Jalen Daniels. What the fuck was that? So yeah, it's the coach. It's normally the coach, and then maybe the GM and not recognizing talent, bringing in bad defensive, or maybe there's a lot of defensive players injured. Either way, I still think they come back strong. Well, it depends. Is it injuries on defense? Because where's their defense? Now, they did play Kansas City 25-24. So how they got blown out by Washington, it's we're in the fucking twilight zone here. You can't play with Kansas City and can't play with Washington. What the fuck is that? Jacksonville, their coach needs to go. Miami, their coach needs to go. All these coaches they bring in these offensive coaches. They can't coach defense. How do you win in the NFL? With defense. That's why KC signs Spagnuolo to a 5-year contract. Who signs their defensive coordinators to 5-year contracts? Detroit's not smart enough to sign their offensive coordinator to a 5-year contract, unfortunately. Of course, Detroit's not smart at anything. They need to get a new defensive coordinator in, but they won't. Right now, they're winning because the one guy can blitz, can get into the quarterback. They haven't figured out yet to do they got to do a North Dallas 40 where they trap the guy and then take his knee out. That's what they need to do to this McWilliams or whatever his name is. Anyway, yeah, it's just it's really bad coaching and it's a lot of bad talent. And you're drafting guys for the wrong reasons. You're drafting running quarterbacks instead of passing quarterbacks. It's becoming very socialist into sports. Basketball, you see it. It's this analytic crap. And I think the whole purpose is to fuck the betting up, right? We had it down to a science. Take the trends on the games. I don't even really look at trends anymore. There's so much going on. I can't. How am I going to bet half these games with trends? New quarterback, new coach. Every team, seven, 8 new coaches every year. How are you hiring these guys? These guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. And then you got new quarterbacks no, Fields is no good, so now he's at Pittsburgh. Well, I can't bet the Bears and I can't bet Pittsburgh. Thank you very much. Or Russell Wilson. I got Bo Nix. I got that. How can I bet any of these guys? I can't use trends. So now I'm back to the defense, but I can't even figure that out. There's no way you could have figured out last night's game. They beat the Giants 21-18. How can you? Well, I'm going to bet this game over. Yeah, are you kidding me? The bet was correct. It just didn't work. But you caught me once. You're never going to catch me twice. Real D, I'm still stunned the Bengals lost, but played close game with the Chiefs with all that talent they have. That's the part of it that just doesn't add up. It's a lot of it is this lack of training camp, and it's the bad coaching. How many times did they blitz Daniels in the game? Did they sack him at all? Did they even come close? I only watch the highlights. I just see him sitting back there having a hamburger and a Coke and going, oh, he's open. I'll throw to him. That's all I see. I don't see anything else. Anyway, it's just really pathetic. I don't know what to say. It's really bad. Really bad football. That's why I look at over-unders a lot because I can't figure out the team, but I can see like Kansas State, BYU. I couldn't figure out the game, but I could figure out it'd be low scoring. Hence the lock. BYU is a very strong defense, so is Kansas State. And so I could figure it out that way, but I couldn't figure out the game. I could figure out Colorado Baylor, that Baylor in 8.5 was a joke and it was a lock and it was an easy winner. But at the end, I couldn't believe what Baylor was doing. I mean, a kid in high school who watches football would never have done that. I've been watching football since I was 5. And I know how to play it and coach it and everything. What the fuck kind of defense was that last play? We'll put 3 guys in the end zone standing there, and they never moved. If you watch the play, so Prime Junior rolls this way, and the 3 guys in the end zone, 2 of them are still over here, and 1 guy went over here, but he didn't even get there to the ball. He should have intercepted the ball, but he did not get over. So Prime's running this way. My screen's backwards. Prime's running this way to this sideline. Why isn't he at the sideline when Prime's at the sideline? And then he throws to the guy. Well, he's got to throw the ball 50, 60 yards. That gives you, 3, 4 seconds. You should be able to run from one end of the end zone to the other in 3, 4 seconds. What were you looking at? And then you slipped. You happened to slip, and the guy covering him happens to slip. What kind of fucking defense is that? So somebody better be fired, and you better be changing your defensive players, because they do not understand the concept of watching the quarterback and going where he's leading you. I mean, that's just basic 7th grade football. I mean, I played 8th and 9th, 10th. I got into high school. The guys were too big. I said, I'm playing golf. I don't want to get hurt. But I mean, even I knew, like, I could read the play. I could see if the quarterback's rolling, I'd roll with them. I mean, it's not hard. I used to read the plays in practice. They used to hate me. I would see the quarterback pitch it to the running back, and I'm in the backfield because I can see, well, here comes the play. Anyway, just insane. But this is what we have. We have a bunch of terrible coaches, and we got a lot of really bad players who are there because they're fast, but they're not good football players. And that's what you have in Caleb. He's not a good football player, or Trevor Lawrence. They're athletes. They're not football players. CJ Stroud, Fields, great athletes. Now, Lamar, not a football player, though. See, that's why. And then you get football players. You get Joe Burrow, and you get Chase, and you get Mahomes. These are good football players, right? That's the difference. That's why I don't like the runners. They're great athletes. I'm not arguing that. They're not football players. They're not quarterbacks. Lamar almost fucked up again. 20-point lead in the 4th quarter. 3 plays punt, 3 plays punt. And then they get a touchdown, an onside kick, another touchdown. Where's Baltimore's defense in the 4th quarter? You blew a lead to Oakland, which I was stunned. And then you almost blew the lead to Dallas. Where's the defense? Are they tired because you didn't play them in the preseason and you probably didn't practice them? So now we're 3 weeks in and your defense is still tired. By the 4th quarter, they're all exhausted because you fucked up in training them. That's the coach's job. They should be playing in the preseason. Fuck it. If they get injured, they could get injured walking out of the shower or mowing the lawn at home. I mean, sorry, you can't prevent injuries. Injuries happen. It's just part of life. It's part of the game. So that's my point. All right, let's check our gold, and then off we go. Any questions, comments, please feel free. Holy shit. You got to love this trend. Gold, 26.53. It just keeps getting better and better. So from 8 in the morning, it was 26.24. It's gone up $30. And people are worried it's going to go down. People that worry it's going to go down have their heads up their ass. They should be NFL coaches. They have their heads so far up their ass, they don't know what they're looking at. The demand for gold is so huge with all these countries trying to join BRICS. You want to join BRICS, you bring your gold. So they're all 159 countries buying gold that have never bought before. They're all dumping the dollar. The dollar's worthless. At what point are you confused here? Oh, look at silver, 32.14. I didn't even recognize our boy. If this breaks 33, it goes to 50. And then we got some serious money. So right now, every time I go up $100, I make $5,000 on 50 ounces of gold. I got a whole lot more of silver, but silver doesn't move. So every every $100 of silver, I'll be rich. But it's 32 and it doesn't go anywhere. It's up a dollar. See, here's the difference. People argue about silver. It's up $1.45. Gold's up $27. Hence why we like gold. It costs more, but it gives you you make serious money with gold. Why people don't call gold an investment? They don't know what an investment is. They're just idiots. They are financial planners who only want their clients in stocks or real estate trusts, like our guy in Attack on Wall Street, which I got to watch. I haven't watched that movie in a few weeks. That's what they do. They keep you in the Titanic, and as the Titanic sinks, they just go, oh, well, yeah, it was tough for me too. I couldn't go to Barbados. I mean, what a fucking joke. So, if you have any money to buy gold, you better buy it now, because it's going to be at 3,000, and the BRICS is going to do at least 3,500. If it's not 3,500 by the time they do it, it might be 4,000 by the time they have their summit. But this is just going, 2653. So that's the point. It is a very big investment. See, you've got to understand the concept of change. Washington's changed. They're now an over team. Cincinnati's now an over team. And you've got to understand that things change with COMEX and change with BRICS, that gold and silver are not what they used to be. You have to understand everything. When something is different, you must understand why. And most people are too stupid to do that. They just sit there and going, I won't buy gold. It never moves. The all-time high is 2,100. The all-time high now is 2653, and it's not the all-time high. It's just the COMEX high, which is paper. If you notice in my title, I gave paper gold, because it is paper gold. It's not physical. Physical gold, add a zero. It's 26,000 easily. But people can't comprehend that, because the dollar will be bad. Nobody gives a fuck. If you got dollars, if you're in the U.S., you don't even pay attention to this. You don't even know what it is. You don't understand anything. You don't know what BRICS is, and you don't understand to buy gold, because there's no way a dollar can be good. So when Luke, I'll talk to Luke later, or he's on vacation. His friend has $4 million in his 401k, but he doesn't realize it's monopoly money. It's garbage. He has 4 million of this garbage in his IRA. It's worthless. It's the orange 500s in the monopoly game is what he's got. Anyway, so we're having a good day. 2653. Beautiful. And silver keeps going. They're buying silver off. They're not using COMEX. They're going to the mines to buy, because there is no silver on COMEX. And I think once this gets blown up like this, then they'll know it. All right. We are deeply in a recession, but they won't tell you. We have massive inflation. They won't tell you. There's one thing. I did ask what inflation was, and their answer was prices. And I had to laugh at it, going, no, it's the devaluation of the dollar. It's the inflation, inflating the money supply, making it worthless. And so what they're trying to do is measure how much the dollar's lost value by looking at prices, because they think the prices go up because the dollar's worth less, so things cost more because it takes more money to buy. That's their concept of it, but it's all Keynesian. They don't know why inflation happens. They think it's price. They think it's strictly prices. They don't understand it's the printing of the money, and it just blows my mind how on Google they can't answer an Austrian economics or a classical economics answer. You printed the money, that's why it's worth. So they don't get the why. They don't get if you print the money, the money becomes worthless. They just see the prices going up and they go, well, if there's a shortage of something, the prices go up. That's something totally different. That's supply and demand, free market economics. That's if more people, if 100 people want my 50 count Mahomes card, the price is going to go up because there's only 50 of them. That is not inflation. Just because price is going up or not inflation and prices going down or not deflation. There's no such thing really of deflation. It's strictly you printed the money and it's worthless. It can't buy anything because you printed it. Nobody wants it. It has no value. That's what the inflation is. Prices are immaterial, especially when you don't use half of them. The CPI is bullshit. I wouldn't look at that. They think inflation's 2%. They're out of their fucking mind. These people should all be in jail. I think I'm going to call one of these guys I see on like Josh Harley and I have a talk about inflation with him. He seems to be a good guy and he really hammers these guys, but they're letting the country fall apart because of this inflation. And it's really, it's a sad thing. We'll all have to move to Russia, I guess, or one of the BRICS countries. It's funny how all the BRICS countries are Africa and Middle East and Venezuela and China and Russia. Can't we have like normal countries join BRICS so we can move there? Anyway, have a good day, everybody. I'll be back later with economics. I do have to run to my pen store and get some more of these. There's a Staples near the lake. I might stop at the lake, but got to go there, go swimming, and then come back. All right, time for a quick lunch. Have a good day, everybody. I'll be back with free picks tomorrow. I need to update my pros. College is all I've got it all graded out. I immediately see a lock. I'm getting to the point now where I can immediately see a lock, right? I see two teams, my spread, then I see their spread, and I go, oh no, that's like Baylor, Colorado last week. I immediately saw Colorado favored, and I said Baylor's the lock, and that's so that's normally where I get it. It's normally the line that gives us the locks. Anyway, that's what's going on. Pros, very, very, it's like stick with Mahomes. That's all I can say. He'll guide you. All right, www.teaserking.com. Please sign up for the college or the pro classes. They're $25. I go through the games, the picks, the locks, and any other questions. Friday night, every Friday, 7 to 8 college, 8 to 9 pros, 8 to 8:30. And then Saturday morning, we just recap any line changes or is Cam Rising playing Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, Sunday at 11, the same thing. And they're very short classes. Just you have most of the picks. There's maybe a pick we're waiting on an injury. And that's it. So please feel free to sign up or the locks or just the picks. All right. www.teaserking.com. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.